Hey y'all, today on the farm we got a lot of different things going on, a lot of moving parts, a lot of places to be and things to do. But first, we're gonna get started with the old Ford 4000. We're gonna saw a little bit of wood. Alright, got a super cool double live edge cedar mantle cut out from my neighbor, and got a really cool wide live edge shelf or secondary mantle they can use at their project. Now they got that wood saw for my neighbor and got him gone. I gotta go pick up some watermelons plants, some transplants. I started growing seedless watermelons this year. But with seedless watermelons, in order for them to pollinate, you got to plant seeded watermelons with them. They'll cross-pollinate each other. So I'm off to go get my seeded watermelons to interplant with my already growing seedless watermelons. On the way back in from getting my watermelon transplants and some sun hemp seed, I stopped by my pasture to get this nurse tank. I got some heifers that I'm breeding with, some ultra black and Brangus heifers I'm breeding to a Hereford bull. And they have to have water hauled to them once or twice a week. So while I'm out running errands, I stop by, grab their water so I can top them off. They're out there at the pasture. I got my cows watered now, so I'm gonna get this 8530 with the 12-row stack fold planter, and I'm gonna lay off the rows for the Butterbeans. I'm not gonna plant the Butterbeans or baby lima beans with a 12-row planter, but I'm gonna take it out there to the field. I'm gonna drop it down with no seed in it and let it leave these rows laid out in the field. I'm going to come back with a 4-row planter on a smaller tractor, and I'm going to follow the rows that this machine's going to make. The smaller tractor with the 4-row planter has GPS, but it's not as accurate as this. This is sub 1 inch, and so this one can lay them off really super accurate. And this is the tractor I'm going to plant the peanuts with. The peanuts are going to be in that same field, and so I want the peanut row and the butterbean rows to be the same rows. I want it all to work out the same. And so I'm gonna go out there with the peanut rows already saved in this computer and lay off those butterbean rows. Now I'll come back with the other tractor and follow the path. Grow lima beans, aka butter beans. In the south we call them butter beans, but everywhere else they call them baby limas. But I'm gonna plant lima beans from right here to right back yonder. That's a lot of lima beans, y'all. That ain't no joke. It's gonna be a lot of lima beans. I'm gonna be on both sides of this road. I'm only gonna put in 12 rows on either side of the road, so 24 rows of lima beans, a long ways down yonder, and then the rest of the field is going to be peanuts. I'm going to have 12 wild peanuts in the back, 06Gs right here, and a brand spanking new variety none of y'all ever planted before right over here. Will be another video coming up soon talking all about the new peanuts. These 24 rows are going to be my second planting of lima beans. I already have a first planting at the shop, or they're at my shelling plant where I process all the peas and beans. I already have significant acreage planted there that's about 3.5 weeks older than this, so I will get that bunch of lima beans picked, shelled, I already have peas growing down there. I will pick the purple hulls, the creams, and then I will move back over here and pick these. And after these lima beans are ready, I'll move back over there and pick peas. When you're farming, you have to plan all that. You're always planning. I don't think a lot of people realize how much planning goes into farming, man. We're strategizing on harvest before we ever put seed in the ground. This field here, like I said, is gonna have 3 different varieties of peanuts, but they have 3 different maturities. And so I have to plant them where I can get to them and harvest them. I'm starting out this year on peanuts back there in the back, but that's where I'm gonna finish my harvest this year. The peanut I'm planting back there is a 150-day nut, and the peanut I'm planting up here is about 125, 130-day nuts. And it's gonna be planted 5 days after I plant that. So we are constantly strategizing, constantly thinking about things, constantly making adjustments and doing things that are way out in the future. This isn't, farming's not fly by the seat at all. It is a lot of strategy, a lot of planning, a lot of forethought goes into every single thing that happens on the farm. The reason I'm planting these Butterbeans around this road, just on either side of this road, is I have a 1-row harvester. And so to begin harvesting, I have to have an area beside the crop to drive on. And so I can start out going round and around this road, picking on the left of the road, pick on the right on the road, left of the road, right on the road, and work my way out. If you don't have a road, then I have to straddle 2 rows while I'm picking a row. And you can do that, but you also end up running over a lot of the peas or butter beans, whatever it is you're growing. So it's best, it works best if I have a road down the center that I can work around and work my way out from. The last thing I planted with these planters was some top pick cream peas. And so I had the plate meters on the bottom of these hoppers to plant the top pick creams. Now I'm going to plant lima beans. So I have put what's called a bean cup bottom on the hoppers. A bean cup bottom essentially is a cup, this part right here, with grooves in it about the size of my thumb all the way around it. And as those grooves pass by this hole in here, a bean will fall in the groove. That groove will come by this tube and the bean will fall out of the groove and down this channel between the press wheels. As the bean exits this tube, it enters this portion of the tube where it travels down between these 2 press wheels. There's some opening disc right here that open up a furrow, split the ground apart. Bean falls in here and the ground is pressed back together behind it with closing disc. So like 2 of these are air firming ground back together over the top of the butterbean seed in this case, or if I was using the plate meters, the pea seeds. Right there in the moisture. Let's see, there's one. Okay. Perfect. I have these butterbean seeds, lima beans, about 2 inches apart, and they are in the moisture zone. They are about 1 inch deep, 1.25 inches deep. I may want to go a bump deeper. I don't know. They're in moisture. The key when you're planting these seeds in prepared ground like this, you want to drop them in moisture and let them germinate and then come up. You can also do what's called dusting them in. You can drop them in the top, little 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, where it's dry at, and then you get a rain, and the rain germinates them. But if you're gonna have cloudless days like this, even if you caught a rain, that top little layer is gonna dry up pretty quick. So you want it down there in some good moisture, and the moisture actually comes up a little bit at night and goes back down during the day. So down there where I'm at, around 1 inch, they should stay in good enough moisture to germ. I'm not going to cut the pivot on. Out here, this is an irrigated field, but I'm going to plant peanuts out here in a few days, and I want to not cut that pivot on until after the peanuts have already germinated on their own. I'm gonna plant them peanuts down there in that moisture, let them germinate, let them come up, and then we may cut the pivot on. So these have to come up, these butter beans have to come up with the moisture that is currently available. Putting out about 75 pounds of seed per acre. That's putting them about 2 inches apart, 1 3/4, 2 inches apart across here. And I am driving the tractor, I'm not using the GPS. I laid the rows off with the sub 1 inch unit, and so I'm just following those lines and manually driving it. I do have GPS in here, but this unit is not sub 1 inch, it's not as accurate, and so it's just as easy for me just to hold the wheel. I'm only traveling 2.5 miles per hour, so I can just hold on to the wheel, kind of check what's going on behind me and watch my rows and lay them off straight. These old 7000 series John Deere's don't have all the digital monitors on them, so as we're getting low on seed, I'm get off tractor every few minutes, every 100 yards or so, come back here and check them, kind of push them down, make sure we're getting a good feed. If you don't check on them, you may not, one of the hoppers may have an empty spot, may not be no seed funneling in, and you will be leaving an empty row out there in the field. With the bigger planters that you see me use, there's a digital monitor on every row, and it's counting seed as they drop by with electronic eye, and it's letting you know what the seed rate is. This one has no such feature, so you just got to come back and eyeball it. The boxes are transparent, so you can see in them, and from the tractor I can see the seed piled up, but sometimes it will be funneled out like that and you may not be getting a good feed. So I just had to get off every few minutes to make sure we are still getting a good feed, still putting them in the ground. I'm on my final pass now, my final through. I'm near about at the end of the row there, and we're probably gonna run out of seed before we get there. Man, we are close. I ain't really wanting to open up a whole nother 50-pound bag to make the last 75 yards, but man, it is close. It's close. Man, it is not far to the end of the road. It's gonna be real close. It's gonna be super duper close. I think maybe we got just enough seed to get to the end of the row here. So I'm just gonna pedal down and make it to the end and pick it up and don't look back. Maybe it makes it, maybe we'll have a little gap right on the end of the row. But anyway, we still got a little bit of daylight left to burn. I gotta go to the sawmill and cut a few more boards for a guy. And then I gotta put some watermelon plants in the ground. So I thank all y'all for watching, and I hope to see you next time.